A beautiful Vietnamese girl stood quietly beside a peaceful countryside river as the first golden rays of sunlight slowly spread across the water. The morning air was cool and fresh, carrying the scent of wet grass and fertile soil from the nearby rice fields. Mist drifted lazily above the river's surface, creating a dreamlike scene that seemed untouched by time. Birds sang from the trees lining the riverbank, while gentle ripples moved across the calm water. It looked like an ordinary morning in rural Vietnam. But before the day was over, something extraordinary would happen. Unlike modern anglers carrying expensive fishing rods and equipment, the young woman relied on a traditional bamboo fish trap known locally as a nom. The simple tool had been used for generations by Vietnamese villagers and remained one of the most effective ways to catch fish in shallow rivers and flooded fields. In her hands, however, it was more than just a fishing tool. It was a connection to tradition, experience, and patience. She slowly stepped into the shallow water near the bank, carefully watching every movement around her. Her eyes scanned the surface with remarkable focus. Years of experience had taught her how to read the river. She knew where fish liked to hide, where the current slowed down, and where larger fish often searched for food. Every patch of floating grass, every cluster of reeds, and every muddy corner held clues. For nearly an hour, she moved quietly along the riverbank. Occasionally, she stopped to observe the water before taking another careful step. Small fish darted beneath the surface, creating tiny ripples that quickly disappeared. The river seemed alive with movement, but she was searching for something much bigger. As the sun climbed higher, she reached a section of the river where overhanging bushes created a shaded area. The water here appeared darker and slightly murky compared to the rest of the river. Most people would have ignored it, but something immediately caught her attention. A circular ripple suddenly appeared, then another. A few seconds later, a patch of water stirred as though something large had moved beneath. The young woman's expression changed. Instantly, she froze. Her instincts told her that a large fish was hiding there. She carefully adjusted her grip on the bamboo trap and began moving closer. Every step was slow and deliberate. The muddy riverbed squished beneath her feet, but she made almost no noise. Nearby villagers noticed her unusual behavior and stopped what they were doing to watch. Something was happening. The girl approached within a few feet of the suspicious spot and paused once more. The water became still again. For a moment it seemed as though nothing was there. Then the surface trembled. A larger ripple spread outward. The fish was still below. The crowd watching from the riverbank grew curious. Several people moved closer. Others pulled out their phones, hoping to capture whatever was about to happen. The girl slowly lifted the bamboo trap above the water. The entire area seemed to fall silent. Then, without warning, she slammed the trap downward with all her strength. A huge splash exploded into the air. Water sprayed in every direction. Immediately, violent movement erupted beneath the trap. The bamboo frame shook so hard that it looked as if it might break apart. The spectators gasped. The trapped fish began thrashing with unbelievable force. Water churned violently around the trap, while muddy clouds rose from the riverbed. The young woman tightened her grip and pushed downward, struggling to keep the trap in position. "That's a big one," someone shouted. "No way! It's huge." The excitement spread instantly through the crowd, but nobody yet understood just how enormous the fish actually was. The fish continued to fight. Each powerful movement sent shockwaves through the water. The bamboo trap rattled and bounced against the riverbed. The young woman had to use every ounce of strength to keep it pinned down. Several times the fish surged toward one side of the trap with such force that it nearly escaped. The crowd watched in complete suspense. Would she be able to hold it? Would the fish break free? The battle continued for several minutes. The young woman carefully reached beneath the edge of the trap, attempting to feel the fish inside. The moment her hand touched its body, her eyes widened. The fish was far larger than she expected. She immediately pulled her hand back and adjusted her position. Now even she looked surprised. The spectators noticed her reaction. "If she's shocked, it must be massive," one man said. Everyone moved closer. Phones were raised. Cameras recorded every second. The fish suddenly exploded into another burst of energy. The trap lurched violently, water splashed several feet into the air. The girl nearly lost her balance but recovered just in time. Her determination never wavered. Slowly, she began working the fish toward one side of the trap. The process required patience. Every movement had to be carefully controlled. One mistake could allow the giant fish to escape back into the river. Minute after minute passed. The fish gradually became exhausted. Its powerful bursts of energy became less frequent. Its movement slowed. The moment of truth was approaching. Crowd could sense it. Everyone held their breath. The young woman reached beneath the trap once again. This time she found a secure grip. With incredible effort, she began lifting. At first, nothing happened. Then a massive silver shape emerged from the muddy water. Gasps echoed across the riverbank. More of the fish became visible. Its enormous body glistened beneath the sunlight. People could hardly believe what they were seeing. The fish was gigantic. Its thick body seemed almost unreal. Its powerful tail continued to thrash as water streamed from its scales. For a few seconds, complete silence filled the air. Nobody knew what to say. Then the crowd erupted. Cheers, shouts, laughter, pure amazement. The young woman stood proudly, with the giant fish in her hands, while everyone around her celebrated the incredible catch. Why is that fish so huge? The question spread throughout the crowd. Some estimated the fish weighed several times more than the average fish found in the river. Others claimed they had never seen anything close to its size in their entire lives. Even elderly villagers who had spent decades fishing these waters shook their heads in disbelief. The fish was simply extraordinary. As the excitement continued, more people arrived after hearing the commotion. Within minutes, a large crowd had gathered along the riverbank. Everyone wanted to see the giant fish, caught using nothing more than a traditional bamboo trap. Many took photographs, others recorded videos. Some simply stared in amazement. The scene felt more like a local festival than an ordinary day of fishing. The young woman smiled as she admired her catch. She knew this was a moment she would remember forever, not because of fame, not because of attention, but because it represented everything she loved about traditional fishing: patience, skill, experience, respect for nature, and the thrill of the unexpected. The giant fish sparkled beneath the afternoon sun as people continued discussing the unbelievable event. Stories began spreading throughout nearby villages. By evening, everyone seemed to be talking about the beautiful Vietnamese girl who had caught a monster fish using a simple bamboo trap. Many people doubted the story. At first, it sounded impossible. How could a traditional bamboo trap catch a fish that large? Yet the photographs and videos proved it was true. The river had revealed one of its hidden giants. As the day slowly came to an end, the crowd finally began to disperse. The river returned to its peaceful rhythm. Birds flew overhead. The breeze rustled through the riverside trees. Everything looked calm once again, but those who witnessed the event knew they had experienced something special. Long after the sun disappeared below the horizon, they continued telling the story. A story about a beautiful Vietnamese girl, a traditional bamboo fish trap, and a giant fish so enormous that nobody could believe their eyes. Even years later, people would still remember that incredible morning beside the river, and they would still ask the same unforgettable question: how could a fish possibly be that big?